Welcome, everybody. This is the No Politics Podcast. I'm your host, Faking No Moons, with my co host, Working Genius. And today is December 28th, Wednesday. And we got a good episode coming up for you talking about wrestling. As always, that's how we get started. We're going to get into some sports, maybe some music, the usual. We're going to start with Raw, like, every other week. I'm Mr. Raw, Mr. Monday night. You're Mr. Tuesday night. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? Smackdown guy right here.
Yep, the A team and the B team. But it depends on who you're asking. You know what I'm saying? It depends on who you're asking. But yeah, like I said, let's get it started with Monday Night Raw, man. Stephanie McMahon kicked it off this week. Am I correct?
I believe you are.
All right, and when she kicked it off, they were in Chicago. This is probably like the highest point right now. Like, just to get it started, like, how perfect more could it start with Stephanie McMahon responding to the crowd as they're chanting CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. She goes, and if you would have chanted one more second, that would have been at least a second longer than CM Punk lasted. Just burying him, like, damn, like, it's been like, what, 3 years since this man's been gone. The crowd still chant his name, and they're still shitting on him in the WWE. So, hey, I was happy to see that, even though I'm a fan of Punk, but I just love seeing Stephanie lash out and be witty and so quick with it off the top of the brain.
Stephanie is great. Stephanie is great. She is very good at handling the crowd. A lot of people get on that mic, and when it's a raucous crowd, they can't handle it. Stephanie's great. As you said, like, just like you, I love CM Punk, but, like, if you're going to be in Chicago, if it's going to be rowdy, that's a great way to start, by shutting it down early. Let it know early.
Yo, she was on some mom shit, like, shut that noise, like, you know what I'm saying? But after that, like, very, 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 like, it was too close to call. Like, Seth Rollins' music hits right away. Boom. Rollins comes out. He asks how is Christmas, how is Triple H. Basically, he says, "Did you give him his balls back?" It was a cool segment, and Stephanie says, her husband's more of a champion than he'll ever be, and Rollins tells her, well, anyway, that's not what I'm here for right now. I'm here because I want a match with Strowman tonight. And when he says that, Stephanie is about to say something back and respond, and Roman Reigns comes out. And she says, let me guess, you want a match with Strowman too. And Reigns basically was like, yeah, that's basically what I'm here for. Let's do what we do. Let's work together. Let's powerbomb him. Let's put him through these tables and, shield shit. You know what I'm saying? At one point, though, when he came out, the crowd was chanting, please don't talk to him. Like, they were shitting on him. It was actually pretty funny because Roman, like, took a second and, like, looked at the crowd like, okay, all right, this is this is what I'm in for tonight.
One of those nights.
Yeah. But Stephanie goes to say, she wants Roman to defend his belt, and it's going to be someone she chooses. And that's basically how we end the opening segment and stuff, man. What was your thoughts on it, besides the whole Stephanie part?
It was simple. It was quick and easy. They both want Strowman. Personally, it was kind of obvious that they weren't going to have Reigns in the ring with Strowman.
Yeah.
Because that's just good for nobody at this point.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that segment was actually when Reigns and Rollins were going back and forth, kind of reminiscing, and Stephanie is just getting herself amped.
Oh yeah.
She's like, yeah, and then she puts her fist in for the shield,
and they look at her
shield
like
symbol, just to troll them. Like, she's just so great at. I don't know. She's just great at that.
Yeah.
She's great at that.
How could I forget that part, right? Skip over that. Like, she was, like, being mad, like, sarcastic. Like, yeah. And she even mentioned, like, well, we're in Chicago, and Smackdown's going to be here, so maybe Dean Ambrose? Nah, not on my show. Right?
Yeah.
That was cool, man. From there, we move on to the Raw Tag Team Championship match: Sheamus and Cesaro versus New Day. And that was a cool little match. I think Xavier Woods and Kofi this time were in the match, and Xavier was had a little mean streak going over there. He was doing some cool shit. I was fucking with it. Um, all in all, like it wasn't that crazy. Like I hardly even remember everything that happened, but I do know that Cesaro and Sheamus got the win, and that's what I expected. I mean, these guys just broke a record, made history. They lose the belts. These guys, Cesaro and Sheamus, they're not gonna lose the belt anytime soon. But I'm still like kind of frustrated with the fact that it's showing them like kind of not getting along, but they are getting along. It's weird. I mean, I understand Sheamus. Everybody hates him, but I don't know. Like I don't know how much I like that. Like they do the whole boo, and then Cesaro raises his hand, and it just reminds me of the Miz and Damian Mizdow for some
Okay.
reason. And I'm like, we seen it with them, and it was 10 times better with them because at least he was his stunt double, and it was funny. It's like these guys are legit a team, and they're a good team. Like you guys were just drinking beer, beating dudes up, and on when they won the belt, Sheamus was acting like funny, but then they had their Raw post show interview, and it seemed like they were kind of getting back on the same page. And Sheamus was like, "We're gonna drink a bunch of Guinnesses tonight, and cheers and all." And then next week, 2 weeks later, it's like the same bullshit. I don't know how much I like it, but I can't really complain. Like, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same thing. I was real confused. I'm glad you pointed out the bar promo again, the bar segment from a few weeks back, where it seemed like okay, now they're committing to being a team, and now they're committed to getting along. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I guess it's interesting. That's the one that we don't know. It's not so obvious. Maybe you never know down the line. The way they lose the titles is Sheamus, turns on Cesaro because they were still tied in that series, and then the seventh one was nobody won, and so I guess I'm interested a little bit. I mean, I hope that it's just weird to see the friction still,
Mm-hmm.
and if we're expecting them to have a decent title reign, like what are they just gonna have all this friction the whole time? Like it's weird.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely weird. I mean, we can do is just stay tuned and see what happens. But after that match, which for me was one of the funniest parts of the whole show, was a backstage segment: Jericho and Owens and Braun Strowman. And I mean, first Strowman was walking and everybody's like running away, like, oh my god, what is he gonna do and shit. And then he sees Owens and Jericho there, and Jericho's like, hey, there's a bunch of rumors going on. And he's like, people Rollins is claiming that you didn't defeat Sami Zayn and at Roadblock because you're a stupid idiot. And like he's like, but those are his words, not mine. Ironically, he called you a stupid idiot. Like that shit was so funny, bro. I was like, yo, I just love. And we talked about this too. Like we didn't want Owens and Jericho's friendship to end so soon. We wanted to continue to grow, and they swerved us, and now they're back together, and it's just magic again. And I fucking love that whole part.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they have like it's like their high school kid.
Yeah.
It's like your high school best friends bromancing. It's mad funny when they get on screen together. And there's another Braun Strowman segment that we'll get to later that just for me, like we mentioned it last week. Braun Strowman, it's Braun Strowman's time now, and every time he's on that screen, it's great. They're booking it so well. His character is awesome right now. He mixes in scary and powerful with funny and entertaining in a way. Like they're doing a great job with him.
I agree. I definitely agree. I agree. And yeah, I that was the thing that we spoke on, and I was kind of like weary about because I was like, I remember this time last year they were talking about him and Brock, and then it fell through like he's not ready, and hopefully he is ready now, and they're pushing him more, trying to get him in there and get some recognition. Now they put him in the ring with Rollins this week, and like you said, they're having the backstage segments where it's like scary, he's a monster, but then some comedy in it. It's perfect. Now when I watched Raw, because I had to catch up on everything, like we spoke on yesterday, I'm busy, so I don't catch with the commercial breaks really. So I'm literally watching it like one whole shot. So, you know, bear with me if I'm kind of not mentioning these breaks and I'm going like it was all one after the other. But that's how I seen it, and that's how I prefer to see it anyway. But following that segment with Strowman and Jericho and all that, there was another backstage segment. Bailey, Golden Truth. Golden Truth are another two dudes that are fucking funny. They haven't been on TV, as from my knowledge. I haven't seen them in a while. But, it was something short. Bailey really, she had a touching little speech. She was like, how much Dusty Rhodes believed in her, how much she loved him, and she gave him a Christmas present, a teddy bear of Dusty. And I thought if it ended there, it was perfect. Basically, like, wow, that was a touching moment. The holidays just passed. That was cool. But Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson comes up, and fucking Carl Anderson takes the shit and rips the head off. And it's like, damn, that's disrespectful. I mean, if Goldust knew that was coming and willing to do it, then hey, how offended can we be? You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel, if you had any thoughts on that.
I mean, personally, I don't get offended with much. I'm a very insensitive guy. We from the city. We from New York, so not much gets to us. But I mean, like you said, if Goldust, I guess, was all right with it, then
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. When Bailey gave it to him, it was nice. I was like, cute little backstage segment when the holiday season. It was cheap. It was like a cheap way to get the club heat, I guess.
Yeah.
As much as I love the club, like. I want to see them thrive. I want to see them do well. But it was unnecessary. What I do like about it is that a lot of times in this episode, they use backstage segments to set up matches later. And we talked about that before, when sometimes it's just like random matches thrown together on Raw without any real build. But like Smackdown has been doing it for, since the brand split. They do a good job of backstage segments that lead to matches later. And I was glad to see Raw doing it. So.
Yep. And I don't know if you saw, but I go on the websites and all. Cody Rhodes actually tweeted about that and was like, I hope whoever produced that segment would never know how it feels for me to see that. So I guess Cody was offended.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I can see how someone would be offended like that.
And especially, what, I know his brother was in it. Not to cut you off, but he also has bad blood with WWE. You know what I mean? Like the way he left and the whole thing where they didn't want to give him a shot. They wanted to keep him in a box with that Stardust character. And, not to veer off from WWE, but we talked about this a couple weeks ago, not on a podcast. Cody Rhodes, since leaving, has been doing some great stuff. And his whole promo leading up to him going to New Japan, where he was like the American Nightmare and all that, like, that's the stuff I wanted to see from him in WWE. So, I can understand where he could have some bad, but like, yo, you guys just do dumb shit and like, coming with stupid storylines when like you have talented dudes who know where to go with their character. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna delve into too much of that.
I just think before we move on, it was cheap. It was just corny. Like it was unnecessary. And I get it. I get why Cody's offended. I wouldn't be surprised if Goldust was offended. It's another chance for the not a chance, but it's another instance in which the WWE just does some shit just to do it. Like, because we could do that. Like,
yeah,
you could have set that up in so many other ways. You could have set up their backstage segment for their match later, like in so many. It could have went in so many different directions, and you chose the cheap route, and it's just kind of whack.
But moving on, we had a squash match for Nia Jax, and she faced this girl Scarlett, who I was looking at. They were like saying this is your WWE debut, so I'm thinking like, okay, so maybe this girl. Don't be surprised if going forward she's gonna have a little role and actually be on the main roster, because I actually read that she's an ROH superstar. Like, she's official wrestler. So who knows? But the whole thing that confused me is how she was like a Sasha Banks stan. Like, Sasha Banks inspired me and stuff. So I don't know, but she made quick work of her. She threw her in the corner. She flung her like she flung Sasha, and she just destroyed her, and it was over. You know what I'm saying? And we spoke about this. Like, we need to see more of that from Nia Jax, the same way they did with Braun Strowman. So, I mean, I know you're probably feeling that whole segment and what happened there with Nia Jax making her look strong.
Yeah, it was cool. The as far as the wrestler being, you know, more relevant going forward. I don't know about that. Maybe a James Ellsworth kind of light storyline, where. But it's weird. Maybe her obsession with Sasha turns into a Mickey James Trish Stratus type shit. I mean, who knows? But I mean, I've never actually seen her. So maybe they were just trying to. Well, I don't know where you read the Ring of Honor thing, but maybe they were just pushing that to show that she's decent. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone that gets into those little squash matches, they do have a little background, so I'm not surprised. I'm not sure it'll go anywhere, but yeah, it was cool little segment, whatever.
Yeah,
Not
it was a throwaway. But not to dwell too much on this topic as well. What I meant was, like, maybe she might not be that Sasha Banks stan going forward, but maybe might not see her, and then she comes back and she's actually like, okay, this is a girl who can wrestle, and you never know what they have planned for her or what opportunities she can get going forward. But after that, we see Stephanie McMahon backstage shaking hands with Charlotte. She walks away. Owens and Jericho show up, and they're complaining about Mick Foley, and like saying, why did Foley give him another chance? Roman Reigns another chance. Uh, Jericho stated he didn't want to be suspended over the ring and stuff, and they were talking about he had some phobia, and they're like, I thought you were scared of spiders, and he's like, both. I'm like, I said spiders. Yeah, I'm saying that was funny. How'd you feel about that?
I mean, Owens and Jericho doing what they do. I mean, anytime they on the screen, it's entertaining to me.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the segment when basically they granted Kevin Owens his shot at the United States belt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, I remember Kevin was like, matter of fact, why don't you give me a shot and you can have a new, and I'll be the new, I mean, we'll be the new United States champion. And he's really pushing forward that we will be this and we are the universal champion and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you didn't just push past that segment, because for a second we were gonna push past it, but then you reminded me that because you mentioned earlier about Jericho and Owens being best friends again, but then we saw this segment and Jericho didn't look completely okay.
His facial
with
expression
Owens getting the shot instead of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Now it's up in the air again, and
yeah, I don't know what Jericho. He's playing some good mind games with us, though. I'll tell you that much. After that, we see Bayley walking backstage, and she's like talking to herself. She's like, 3 times, I beat her 3 times, the champ. Like, she just looks crazy, but she goes down to the ring, and basically she gets interrupted by Charlotte, and Charlotte's telling her, you didn't beat me. And she was like, let's look at the footage, and basically it shows Charlotte's shoulders up, which they did show last week, and we actually forgot to touch on that when we spoke about their match and Bayley winning. But she was like, I got my lawyer involved, and we got a real official, and who comes out? Dana Brooke. And of course, a whole bunch of shenanigans happen after that. They get into it. Bayley knocked out Dana Brooke and threw her out the ring or some shit like that, right? And then basically they're fighting for a little bit, and a ref runs down and he starts officiating the match. And right when Bayley's basically gonna get the win, Dana pulls him out. And like, I'm the official in this, I'm the referee. And basically Dana Brooke's strong ass punks the ref. And basically we get a roll up pin. Charlotte puts her feet on the ropes, and Dana doesn't see nothing. 1, 2, 3. It's over. How'd you feel about that?
Props to Dana Brooke for yanking the ref the way she did.
Right?
It was a clean pull. He landed flat. It was impressive.
Beastie too.
Yep. As far as the match, it's just I'll talk about it more after we discuss Raw when I'm kind of just recapping my thoughts on the whole thing. But another match that ends with some shenanigans, like you said. And my only problem with Dana Brooke being involved is it just hasn't been consistent. And we talked about it. We talked about Ric Flair maybe getting involved at some point, or Dana getting involved at some point. But sometimes Charlotte is with them, sometimes she's not. Like there can be times where Dana is with Charlotte, where Charlotte doesn't actually need Dana's help, and Charlotte can get a great win as a heel and look strong without any help, just because without using Dana at all. I feel like they think they can't have Dana present for Charlotte to get a strong looking win, and it's just now what it does is it looks like sometimes she's hanging with her, sometimes she's not. It just looks weird.
Yep, and I don't know if we spoke about it before on the podcast, but yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about too. Like sometimes I see Dana with her, sometimes I don't. Like honestly, like I don't remember seeing Dana in the past like couple weeks. Maybe I'm just forgetting. But okay, well they still fuck with each other. All right, I guess that's something Charlotte got up her sleeve. She's the daughter of the dirtiest player in the game, right? So we gonna move on though. And after Charlotte got her win, there's another backstage segment, like you said. Stephanie and Braun Strowman have a conversation because Strowman got some guy like hemmed up in the corner. She's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "He looked at me wrong. I asked him where's Sammy. He doesn't know." Like, okay, chill, homie. I know.
The line was, I asked him if he knew where Sami Zayn was, and he didn't answer me fast enough.
Yeah, like, yo, chill, homie. Like, take it down a notch, And basically, Stephanie guarantees him a match against Sami Zayn next week, but Strowman says, no, I want a last man standing match. So, hey, they're really putting on some big matches leading up to Royal Rumble, and I'm here for it. Stephanie agrees, and then asks Strowman to take his frustration out on Seth Rollins tonight. So, that was cool, right?
I dug the segment. Strowman has been gold. I mean, it's just a perfect blend of comedy and just I think Stephanie said that she couldn't find Sami Zayn, and Braun Strowman just started breathing mad hard, like his blood pressure was boiling off of it. It was just funny. I dug it.
Yeah, that's true. Like she was like, he hasn't shown yet, and he's like, I don't know. And honestly, this part of the show, I was actually watching in my job with my coworker, and he's not a WWE fan at all. So he's watching and he's like, is he gonna hit her? Like, is he gonna hit her? Like he really was asking, And I was like, nah, he's not gonna hit her. Like they're not gonna do that. But it's crazy to see a reaction from somebody who actually doesn't watch by week, and it's like, damn, this guy's. Like he gets the impression like this guy's a monster. He's ruthless.
For a moment, when he started like breathing hard like that, it seemed for a second that he would do it. I just knew that they wouldn't actually have a beast like Strowman put his hands on any woman for that matter.
Woman, especially Stephanie.
Exactly. So
and we'll move on from there. It's time for the cruiserweights. Neville versus T.J. Perkins. Austin Aries comes out, which I'm really digging how week by week they're having him commentate these cruiserweight matches to promote the fact that he's a commentator for the 205 Live, which I still have not watched. But little by little, I'm getting interested. Like maybe I should watch, especially the way Neville's going. And Neville comes on like last week or something like that 2 weeks ago. You guys were cheering me or something but or did they show they showed the flashback to him saying that?
Yes.
One of the other.
He had his promo after the match.
Yeah, because they showed the flashback of him saying that. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what me and you've been talking about for him. But him and T.J. Perkins is a match where I was like, damn, this is a match I definitely want to see. They put on a hell of a freaking show. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I was interested to hear the "Let's go TJ sucks" chants from the crowd. That was weird. I mean, it's only weird. It's more weird because I'm used to hearing that for guys like Cena, where some people it doesn't even have to be the person against Cena that gets cheered. Sometimes the crowd just wants to be anti-Cena, so you'll have the kids go, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," whatever. But it was kind of weird to see this kind of noise for T.J. Perkins.
Honestly,
so it was interesting, I guess.
Honestly, I didn't even peep that. So that's crazy. So they were dead ass doing that, going back and forth over TJP.
I think it might be because when I stop to think about why, I think it might just be because maybe kids love TJP because he has the whole video game theme song kind of thing, and maybe they like that or something. I don't know, but
yeah, and this is another one where when this match came and that's TJP was coming out, my coworker was like, "Isn't that the Mega Man song? Like, is that Mega
exactly.
Man? That's definitely Mega Man." So if he's doing that and he's like 20 years old, you know what I'm saying? And the kids are definitely like, "Oh shit, like, oh, fucking video game song, cool. This guy's awesome." You know what I mean? But Neville gets the pin. He grabs the tight, and then he gets the win. He goes out. They interview him, and basically he insults everybody. He says, "Oh, maybe it's my accent and all this, and I want a shot at Rich Swann if he's man enough to show up at 205 Live." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I like the mean streak. We've been talking about it for since he came out at Roadblock. Be mean, be bad." I'm still surprised. Oh, because when he beat him down, he took him in and then did the red arrow. Took him in the ring and did the red arrow. The fans popped for that too, and basically the commentary was like, "Oh, now they want to pop. Like, now they want to cheer when he's gonna do the red arrow." You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I think it was either Corey Graves. He was like, well, or maybe it was Michael Cole. He was like, "Well, the Red Arrow is freaking amazing. Like that's like to see that move being done. But yeah, that was a cool little match, cool little segment. It builds a story for the cruiserweights like we want to happen, and yeah.
Is that the first time he's done the red arrow since he's been back? Like I don't pay super attention to the cruiserweights, but
Yeah.
I know he didn't do it the first night he returned.
Yeah,
Is that the first time he did it?
I think so, cause
Either
last
either
week
way,
last week I don't remember. Did he? I know they had a little segment, but it wasn't a match.
I don't remember.
Was it?
Maybe he's been doing it on 205 Live, but if that's the first time he's done it since it was back and the crowd popped and they mentioned the crowd popping for it makes me kind of think of when Cesaro used to do the swing all the time.
Yeah.
And then he got away from it. He stopped doing it and only did it in like big moments because then the crowd really went crazy for it. That's how I kind of felt about the Red Arrow when he did it. I was like, wait, has he not done it in a while? But the even something I want to mention. When he threw Swann into the side of the ring before he threw him into the ring, when he threw him into the side of the ring,
TJP.
Oh, TJP, yes.
Yeah. Yo, honestly, thank you for bringing that up because I was like, damn, did he crack the LED on that? Like, it sounded like he cracked it, like, and it looked a little, but then I looked for it. He didn't crack it. I kept paying attention. I was like, nah, that shit. They probably prepared for people to throw each other into that anyway, so that's not gonna break. But that was vicious. That was definitely vicious. It was a cool segment. Following that was Enzo and Cass, my guys. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? Enzo, they wheel him down in a wheelchair. Enzo's popping his shit. Cass goes, all right. Basically, he gives Cass the mic. He's like, it's your turn. You're up. Yep. Oh no, he goes, I have a cup filleth over with a cup of haters. I'm gonna spill them all out. And yup, step up to the box because you're batting cleanup. And then basically Cass goes in the ring. It's like, oh, it seems like I can't leave my boy alone because y'all want to be jumping people and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then who comes out? Rusev and Jinder Mahal, which honestly, for me, I think they look like a pretty good team together. Like they complement each other well, standing next to each other. I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree. I mean, I think that's what they're going for. I think they're going to start utilizing them more together. It seems. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Rusev, Jinder, Enzo Cass match. You know what I mean? So it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, they look solid together.
Yeah. And then basically the whole bait was like the wheelchair situation. They go to try to like beat up Enzo in the chair, and or Jinder Mahal goes to go in the beat up Enzo, and they get Jinder in the chair because Enzo gets up and shit, and he's like, "I'm not hurt, fuck that." He pulls him off the apron and shit, and then fucking Cass goes, "Come on, get up on the thing," and he throws him over. That was a cool little spot and all that, and yeah, it wasn't too much, but is going there, but I just feel like every week we're like, yeah, they did something cool. It's not too much, but hopefully it's building to something else. Oh yeah, next week. Oh, it wasn't too much, but hopefully it's building to something else. And it's like, come on, get to the fucking storytelling, get to the dope match, give them some time. Like, let's get this shit popping.
I mean, we touched on it. There are what 4 or 5 weeks to Rumble, so I don't know if they're saving it for that, but it is moving slow. I feel like in general, Raw has been moving slow. Um, which, like I said, we'll touch on more at the end. But let's get into it now before I forget. How about that? Just it feels like Raw gives us the same kind of shit every week, and that's my problem with it. New Day versus Sheamus and Cesaro again. Who's next for Sheamus and Cesaro? Because it can't be New Day. Maybe the club, I guess. But like as of right now, we've seen that a billion times. Sheamus, Cesaro, New Day. Bailey and Charlotte, we've seen a billion times. It's just the same kind. It just feels the same over and over. And I just another Nia Jax squash, which is fine. They're building her. But when it's coupled in with all these other things that feel the same, it makes you feel like it's just a card that's just filled with the same shit we've seen a bunch of times.
Hey, watch him out when you're talking about my show. No, I'm joking. But you're kind of right. But honestly, I feel maybe it's the fact like I was way on board for 3 hours when it was both rosters together. Splitting the rosters up kind of exposes Raw for 3 hours being a little too long, because catching up on everything, no commercials, watching Raw, and catching up on everything, no commercials, watching SmackDown. I feel like SmackDown I could be more attentive to, pay more attention to, because I feel like it goes by like this: 2 hours, you get to the point, you do it, and you get it done with. You start tell your story. That's it. 3 hours. You got a lot to work with, a lot of fillers, a lot of breaks, a lot of momentum here, stop, commercial, then you got to pick that momentum back up. And it's difficult to do that. It might have, people complained about it being difficult when it was the full roster, and I didn't feel so. But now with half the roster, I definitely feel so. So that could be a problem too. But moving on from the Enzo and Cass, Rusev Jinder Mahal segment, we have Darren Young, Bo Dallas, and versus the Shining Stars. Darren Young and Bo Dallas, and they're standing there with their certificates from the sensitivity class. And honestly, I was kind of mad. This is the one segment I'm gonna talk shit about. I was kind of mad seeing Bo Dallas in there like that, because I'm like, yo, Bo Dallas broke out from the social outcast, turned on them. We thought he was gonna have a storyline where he's a bad dude with a mean streak, and I personally have not seen him since he did that. Like, what do they have for this man? They're gonna tag him up with Darren Young now. They're gonna put him with Bob Backlund now. Like, they already got that whole stick going. Like, give him something. Like we said, we keep seeing the same thing week after week. Implement Bo Dallas in something good. Like, I don't know. I just personally feel it. I don't have the answer, but I do have the frustration.
I remember you spoke to me about Bo Dallas before he was even on the main roster. You spoke to me about Bo Dallas when he was in NXT, and you were like, "I love this guy. He's mad funny." And when I saw him on the main roster, I immediately got it. He is almost like a troll. Like he's this Bo Lee, all the positive. Yeah. And he's just eking out victories somehow. And then he even had the victory lap is great. I love the victory lap. But he even had the whole win streak where he didn't get pinned. He was undefeated for mad long. And I don't know. They just look like they just look like they dropped the ball on so many things. And when you have a show with it's a 3-hour show, and you can't give us any curveballs. You can't utilize these guys differently. it's the same. Like we get the same kind of thing. The same guys are in the main event, and it's just
Four times we see Jericho and Owens. 3 times we see Strowman backstage. You know what I'm saying? Twice we see Bailey. So you mean to tell me all those backstage fillers, you're gonna put the same people in? You're not gonna implement new people? You know what I mean? And it's frustrating. There's not even much to talk about their match because I wasn't even really paying attention to it. Like it wasn't that good. There was no story behind it. The only good thing is Strowman comes out now. So now this is the fourth time we see him. You know what I mean? He comes out, he's carrying a fucking Christmas tree. I'm like, okay. And then he basically fucks them up. And it goes to commercial. Comes back, he's still there. And he's like, they're like, wow, he took out 5 guys and he's waiting for Rollins. I don't think we could ever say anybody ever did that, took out 5 guys and then prepared themselves for Rollins. Rollins comes out and I mean, now this is a bright spot in the show because Rollins and Strowman, they told a good story in the ring. And this is when I say, outside of Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins is that dude who could tell a story in the damn ring and make whoever he's facing look amazing. And he made Strowman look strong, made Strowman look like a monster. He had a few springboard knees to the face on Strowman, and he didn't drop. Then he hit him with the jump off the turnbuckle, neck breaker type move, and finally took him down. Like I was digging that match. That was dope.
Yeah, and then he went for the pedigree, got flipped. He got absolutely flipped.
Tossed. He got tossed.
It was a great match. It was probably my favorite part of the night as well. How did it end? I'm not remembering.
Basically, Sami Zayn came out, and then Strowman was looking like, where's he coming from? And then I was still in work, so I looked away for a second. I think Sami jumped out from the crowd or something, and then Sami started brawling with him, and yeah, they were brawling, and it was a disqualification. Seth Rollins was just like laying there, and I think people came out and tried to help. I think no. He came out. He started beating on Braun like from behind, and then he ran, and Braun Strowman tried to chase him and follow him, and Seth Rollins was just laying there in the ring, and like a bunch of refs came out and were helping him get up, and they were like, damn, like we've never seen nobody do this to Rollins, you know what I'm saying? And Jericho comes out and hits him with the code breaker and just like is stalking him and like above him, and then the refs are trying to help him up, and then Jericho hits him with another code breaker, and it's like, damn, Rollins is like, okay, they're gonna capitalize on this. Yeah, having a rough night, exactly.
I thought it ended the way you'd expect it to end. Nobody, Rollins isn't going to take the pin. Strowman's not going to lose. So it ended the way you expected it to end. But I'm not mad at it. That this is one of the few times where I can say it was predictable, but it's for a reason. You don't want either of these guys to lose any momentum. And then I guess they're going to continue with the Jericho Rollins. It's not so much Jericho Rollins, I feel, anymore, as it is Jericho Owens versus Rollins Reigns. So
yeah. So all in all, after that, it was, I think it went to commercial. I'm not even sure, but it comes back and it's Davari. No. Actually, I think was that before or after? But Davari was backstage, and Jack Gallagher came.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, was that before or after his match?
I'm not sure. Regardless, they've been building that Davari Jack Gallagher thing, which I don't mind.
That was after the match. Sorry, not to interrupt, but that was after the match.
I don't mind them sprinkling this in. They're trying to build feuds, I guess, for 205 Live and stuff, which is weird that they have a 3-hour show, yet they have to, build these matches for 205 Live. But whatever.
Another correction, though. I made a mistake. So, with the whole TJP, he actually didn't throw TJP back in the ring.
It was Swan.
It was Swan. Because Swan destroyed Davari quick. Neville came out, started beating up on Swan, basically threw him back in the ring, hit the red arrow on him, and then that's when they were like, oh, okay, they want to pop for him now because earlier they were booing him. And then Davari was backstage, and then they interviewed him, and Gallagher smacked him with his little glove. They're like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "I don't know, like what the hell." Everybody was shocked, but yeah, it was cool, whatever. And then I guess that sets up the match with Neville and Rich Swann for 205 Live. And I mean, it's only in due time Neville's gonna be that cruiserweight champ. Like, but the one thing I can say I took from that match, Rich Swann had a little different presence about him, like a little evilness. Like, I'm gonna hurt this guy. I'm gonna beat this guy, and like fucking, I'm ready. Like, let's see if Neville comes out because I got a little mean streak too. Like, you know what I mean? Even though Neville destroyed him and basically hit him with his move and was like, "Come on, let's get it on." 205
Yeah.
Live. Tune in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you correcting yourself and explaining that whole situation like refreshed it for me. Yeah, Swan needs that though. He needs a little more character. You know, he can't just be the just happy smiling guy all the time. You know, it gets boring quick, and it's like that's the kind of guy you want to see win. But then once they win, it's like that's not enough to carry them forward anymore, to carry their character anymore. And then he cut the promo and Neville attacked him from behind, right?
Yeah,
That's what happened. Okay, well. For me, the Swan promo, I don't know. The Swan promo is kind of like cringy not cringe, but
yeah.
it's just I think he called him what
I don't remember anything.
It was on par. It was on par with Reigns saying "suffering succotash." He called him a sourpuss or some shit.
Oh
like
yeah, he was like, but really, he's a sourpuss, a British sourpuss, or something like that, or Irish sourpuss. I'm like, okay. I'll say one thing though: the finish to that match where he did the spinning kick and basically dropped him. Honestly, but I think we spoke about this. I don't know if we did on the podcast or not. But WWE always refers back to UFC things. And earlier this month, there was a pay per view, but before the pay per view, they do the live, the free fights on FS1, and then they also have Fight Pass. So WWE probably didn't see the Fight Pass match. It was this guy Landon Venata, and he landed this spinning kick just like how Rich Swann did. But why I say that they used the UFC stuff because this Saturday for Christmas there was no events, so UFC gave free fights. The whole pay per view they played it free on Fox, and that match that fight they took from the Fight Pass and put it on Fox because it was such an awesome knockout. And then Monday night, 2 days later, he's winning the match doing the spinning back kick. I'm telling you, they be stealing things and like picking things up from the real fights.
I think we might have spoken on this, but on our very first podcast that we never put out, which now I'm thinking we might have to because we was spitting knowledge. But yeah, we spoke about it with the Lesnar Orton thing, that them ending in TKO. To kind of just talk about that. We spoke about the Lesnar Goldberg. How it ended fast and it was kind of shocking, kind of like the way UFC fights, and it had that like heavyweight kind of feel.
And the women's match where they had the choke, and basically it was like I think it was between Charlotte and Sasha. They had her in like a rear naked choke, which Paige Van Sant got finished like literally the night before by rear naked choke, and she tapped out. But the only difference is like Sasha or Charlotte, whoever was in the move, didn't tap. You know what I mean? And also going even further back, Conor McGregor when he tapped out, the very next show for WWE, they did the same move and they mentioned Conor McGregor tapping or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? So they're watching, they're keeping their eyes. I feel like they feel maybe like real fighting is their only competition. That's why they try to emulate it to the best they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to do a business project surrounding WWE as a company, and I had to compare it to another company, and it's just WWE falls in a weird realm, which is why it's hard for them to have real competition because it's not real sports. But it's entered, so it doesn't really compete with real sports. But then again, UFC is kind of like it. It's interesting. So they fall in a weird place. So I see why they take from it a little bit.
Yeah.
And, to keep it edgy, I guess on their on the it's hanging in the balance of or on the tightrope of,
Yeah, and we're not gonna just say that WWE is taken from UFC, because the UFC guys, they see what the WWE guys are doing, and once they get that win and they get that mic and they get an interview, they go straight into some WWE promo style, like, I want you next. I'm the man, blah blah blah. Like, they start cutting promos and all that, but not to dwell too much on that. Maybe later on we'll get into some UFC, because Ronda Rousey is returning this Friday, and we might just have to speak on that. But let's move on to the last and final match of Monday Night Raw, which was Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the United States Championship. I'm gonna let you start on it. How'd you feel about that match?
I hate the booking of Kevin Owens. He is the weakest. He is the weakest champion I've ever seen. It feels like, just he can't get a win for shit. And when he does get a win, it's got to be Jericho helping him. And it's just, I remember when Owens. Oh, this is the same guy that debuted and beat John Cena clean.
You're right.
Clean.
Not once, but twice, I think.
And now he can't buy a win. He cannot get a clean victory for shit. And it's just, he looks so weak, and all for what? For Roman to look strong, it feels like. And I don't know. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long of a match. They did what they had to do to just, buy time and basically move them on to next week. But all in all, Jericho comes out and tries to help, and then Rollins comes out and helps Reigns, and Roman gets the spear, pins him 1, 2, 3. Jericho, then Rollins comes in and pedigrees Owens
after giving him the suck it symbol.
Oh yeah, because that I like that part though. That was the one good part in the match where Owens gave him the second and then turned around and got speared. But
no, but then Rollins gave Owens the suck it.
Oh,
the camera cuts away when Rollins is about to do it. They cut away to Owens, and then they come back, and Rollins had finished doing it already. But Rollins definitely did the suck it.
But okay, so I didn't even peep that.
So it's like a shot at Triple H.
But Owens did it to Rollins first, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. But I know that because it's like adding insult to
That's what I thought. Like, he was like, "Hey, suck it, yeah, I'm Triple H's guy." Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So I guess then Rollins hit him with the pedigree and was like, "Yeah, well, you suck it now." Roman goes out the ring, spears Jericho. They end on top, and they're the Shield brothers again. And it ends basically with Rollins like, "This, that's how we do it around here. That's how we do it around here." And then end of the show. I mean, there was a lot of. For me, this was a weak Raw. Like, it was kind of hard for me to even get through it. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, around after the first hour, like, I kept pausing and then having to jump back in and all that. So it was kind of a weak show for me. I mean, Braun Strowman had some of the highlights, and the beginning with Jericho talking about the rumors, I think was the best part of the whole show, because I was legit laughing and dying. Like, that shit had me cracking up.
Yeah, it just felt like same old shit on Raw. You know, how many times have we seen Reigns win in that kind of way? You know, he takes a cold breaker. You know, he's taking, finishes and kicking out, and then, he gets a spear at the end and wins. Like, it's the same shit.
Yep. All in all, it was whack. That's how we feel. So this is the first episode where we're not, because remember we talked about before where, like, they probably feel like we're all for and we're always here, but it's not always going to be positive. Raw was whack, straight up. Let's move on to Smackdown, Mr. Tuesday Night.
And, the A show.
The A show. In the words of JBL, right? But where do we start? I guess, we kick it off with John Cena, boy.
Right off with John Cena, his music hits. I was interested to see. We talked about it, like, how is Cena gonna be used? Is it gonna be related to the Undertaker? Is it gonna be AJ Styles? Kind of wins, and then Cena comes right off the bat. Cena came out, and like
he was hot. He was hot.
Like we said, they're in Chicago.
Yeah.
So the crowd, John Cena sucks right off the bat, and he can handle it. He can handle it.
Yeah, he's like, did you say I suck? You're gonna have to say it a little louder. He said, like,
no. There was a part where he said that when he was in the ring, but they were actually saying CM Punk at that point. It was the only
oh,
CM Punk chant of the whole night, if I remember correctly. And it was when he was in the ring, and then I think he covered it up by saying, "Are you guys saying I suck?" But they were saying
okay,
CM Punk at that
okay.
point.
Honestly, John came back and he was fired up like he never left. He's the only guy that could be gone for a month, 2 months, and come back and get that mic and just go off, do him perfect, no mess ups. Just I feel like he's not scripted. Like I don't know how they work with him, if they give him bullet points like what to touch on, or if they just let him do him. But man, I was fucking digging it. He had like a little like John Cena rapper Smackdown swag. Like
I
I
was gonna
got that
say
that
that.
feeling from him. Like when he was like, like I'm gonna face AJ Styles, and you know what? I know a lot of y'all might feel some way, but I could do that because I'm John Cena, and throws the mic like, you can't see me, like.
he had a heelish vibe to him a little bit, but I don't think it was him going heel or teasing heel. It was more that he knew the kind of crowd he was dealing with. He knew that they were anti-Cena there. They're in Chicago, and so he handled himself well. He wasn't gonna go for the cheap pops because he knew what he was dealing with. So he turned it up a little bit, and he finished it off with "I'm John Cena, recognize."
Word,
Fire.
word life, word
That's how it
life,
felt. That's how it
for
felt.
real. Uh Oh, and he was like, "It ain't the new era. It's my time is now era. It's the my time is now era too." He said. Um, but yeah, that shit was cool, man. Right off the back from there, they go into a backstage segment. The Miz, he has security guards, and this lady comes and knocks on his door. By the way, I don't know how long has that interviewer been with WWE, because for some reason she looked new to me. I never
Who
seen her.
was you? I mean, I know Dasha is kind of new. Was it her?
Nah, it
Then,
might have
then
been Dasha. It might have been Dasha.
I'm not. I don't remember. I just know Miz ain't want to speak to her.
Yeah, Maurice opened the door, looked at her, closed the door, and then Miz comes on like, I ain't speaking to no one until I speak to Renee Young. Tell her come see me if she wants to scoop. Straight up. And then we get into the four corners elimination tag match, and damn, they really was popping it off quick. They like all the matches on SmackDown were legit, like just the title matches, and they were
It was
they were good. They were great. Like
it was 3 matches, I believe, just the 3 title matches, and it was the Miz segments with the Miz Ambrose segments, and there was a point where after the first match and after another segment, I looked at the clock and we were an hour through already. I was like, damn,
yeah.
this shit is flying by. But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, 3 title matches, they were all great. Let's get into this tag match. What you felt about it?
All right, tag match. I felt that, man. I'm hyped. I'm hyped, bro. I'm not on, no pun intended. I'm not a hype bro, but I'm hyped, bro. Like for real. And we have Slater and Rhino, which I'm still confused on their dynamic, because week after week they keep fucking it up and seeming like they're not cool. But whatever, they're in the tag match. We had Luke Harper and Randy Orton defending their belts. We had American Alpha, and we had the Usos, who you've been pushing them these past 2 weeks, saying like they can get in. Oh wait, they said they're ready. They're not injured. Give them the title shot. But all in all, ended up being the four corners match. And Heath Slater and Rhino were the first ones eliminated, and Heath Slater went to get up. There was a few botches in that match. Heath Slater went to get up on the rope and like slipped and like fell, and then Jay Uso, I think it was, he was the one wearing the red shirt, covered it up real quick and like threw him off the rope and then hit him with the super kick and pinned him. And I was like, damn, wait a minute, because even after he got pinned, he was holding his
He was
knee.
flexing it,
He was holding his knee. I was like, maybe is he just trying to
sell it.
sell it because he knows he fucked up? But I read today that he actually might be hurt and he has to go see a doctor or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe that was him saying on Twitter, I guess I'm going to see the doctor. Maybe he's still selling it because he knows he fucked up. I don't know. Because there was
It,
not to cut you off, but there was another part in the towards the end with the Usos. When the Usos went to both jump onto American Alpha, and the one who was on the same side that Slater fucked up looked like he slipped a little too, and he wasn't gonna make it that far to Gable. So I don't know.
I remember at some point too. I don't know if it was JBL, but he mentioned the ropes being sweaty. I don't know. So maybe that was them, trying to, because a lot of times what they do now is they don't ignore the botches.
Yeah.
When someone botches and they don't get a clean shot, the commentators won't try to sell it. They'll try to play to the crowd because they know we're not stupid anymore. So they'll say something like, "I don't think he got all of that," or "It looked like he slipped." They'll play into it. So when JBL said the roast might be sweaty, that I felt like they were playing into it and that there were some botches.
Yep. So they're the first ones eliminated. Basically, once they get eliminated, Bray Wyatt basically tells Randy and Luke like, "Yo, jump down here. Let them fight, and let's see who's gonna be the final one, and then we'll take care of that."
I like that. Because it's smart. Because if it's elimination and anyone can get tagged in at any point, why even put yourself in the position to get tagged in?
Let's wait
That's
till
like
who's
Bray. That's
yeah.
Bray being a tactical genius.
Yeah, let's wait to see who's last.
Exactly.
And then we'll take care of them. By that time, they just fended off two other teams. They're tired as fuck. You know what I mean? So that was cool. American Alpha ends up eliminating Jay and Jimmy Uso, and it ends up being those two teams in the final, and they had some dope spot. Yo, Chad Gable, his suplex
is amazing.
Yo, his suplexes are dope. Like he did it to fucking Luke Harper and bridged, and Luke Harper kicked out, but like that was like flawless, man. Like these guys just like I don't know, they just remind me of like Kurt Angle, not Team Angle, but like that whole Kurt Angle vibe, and they're just dope. They got passion, they're fiery. Freaking Jordan, when he came in, he hit some suplex and pulled his straps out. He was like, "Yeah, I'm strong too." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it was dope as hell, man. And all in all, you want to tell them how it ended?
I believe they had either Jordan or Gable on the turnbuckle, and Orton went to, I guess, maybe superplex him. And for whatever reason, Harper starts to make a move to walk over. This is probably like the one like question mark I have.
Yeah.
But then everything else was pretty good. I did have a bad feeling though when Bray wasn't in the match. When you're defending, it was almost like the feeling I got with the New Day when Woods would be in the match. You kind of got the feeling like, does this mean that the third member is going to take the pin kind of thing? And Harper makes a move to walk over towards them, and Orton, I guess, slips. It looked clunky. It looked kind of awkward, and Orton kind of takes out Harper, and then falls, and then basically American Alpha capitalizes, and they get the pin on Orton. I thought it would be on Harper if one of them was going to get pinned, but they get the pin on Orton. New tag champions. It was a beautiful moment, and then. They didn't even give them too much shine. Like, they were showing them celebrate, but the focus was on Harper and Orton kind of getting in each other's face. And we've seen them kind of, mix it up in the past, and Bray having to separate them.
Yep, and for me, it was like, damn, like, we talked about this literally last week when you were telling me what the match, and I was like, yo, I definitely got to see that match now. Bray, like, since they won the belt, they haven't really been on TV. Luke got some spotlight 2 weeks ago. And he was in the Fatal 4 match and all that. And we were like, yo, the Wyatts are going to be powerhouses. We see them holding the belt for a minute. And it's like 2 weeks later, they lose the belt. It was weird. Luke Harper runs up on the rope and basically, like, knocks Randy's foot off the rope. But at the same time, Randy was going to hit this guy. And when his foot slipped, he hit Harper. And Harper drops down. Harper's out for good. Like, you know what I mean? That was enough to just knock Harper on the floor and not be able to save the Randy from the pin. And then Bray Wyatt, I know at one point got knocked out on the other side too, but like he was knocked out for a minute too. Like damn, he got knocked out that hard. He can't help either. All in all, I'm happy that American Alpha are the tag team champions, but it was just weird to me. And let's see what happens because like you said, they end up going into each other's face. Like what was that? and Bray Wyatt gets in the middle and kind of separates them. But if you notice, when he separates them, he goes more on Luke's side and says, like, whispers something to him, like calm down, like if that's his man's more than Randy's his man's, you know what I mean? Which obviously he is. They came in together, but I don't know.
I mean, I would hope that if I would hope that they've developed, like they know that Bray's character is smart enough to know that if if Orton is trying to play a trick on Bray, that Bray is smart enough to know that Orton is possibly trying to play a trick on him. Not that, I don't want them to have Bray, be stupid and blindsided by Orton, possibly turning on them in the future. I would hope that Bray is keen to the fact that, Orton is the Viper. Bray knows that Orton is the Viper. He knows what he's capable of. So I'm just hoping that, by him motioning more to Harper, it's like Harper is more his man, and he acknowledges that, and he knows, like, let's not put too much blame on Randy. Let's keep him thinking we're also on his side, just like he wants us to think we're on his side. All in all, about the potential split that's coming, I mean, we know that the split is going to come eventually. I feel like similar to Owens and Jericho, it just felt too soon. It just, they just won the titles. Let them reign a little bit. And I feel like, they're probably going for Bray and Orton at Mania, maybe, but we're not even at the Rumble yet. You could have saved that. You could have, built it a little more at the Rumble. Maybe Orton eliminates Harper, or Orton eliminates one of them, and and then you still have Elimination Chamber before, Mania. So it just felt too soon. I felt like they could have reigned a little more. I just feel like it might have been a little rushed.
Yep. Yeah, you're right, and I mean, who knows? I don't know. I'm lost for words. Let's move on.
One of the small downsides to what I thought was
yeah. All in all, though, I am happy that American Alpha is the champs, and I just didn't see these guys losing the belts like that. But let's move on. Another backstage segment. Dolph Ziggler getting interviewed, talking about how he's the underdog all the time, and he knows like putting up his shot up for the belt was like a risk, but that's what he does, and he's gonna do whatever he got to do to win. And then yeah, it's basically like the same thing Dolph Ziggler always says, though. And from there, though, I guess it went to commercial and then came back with another backstage segment with James Ellsworth. And this was a little weird for me because then Carmella comes out and is like, I find him uniquely attractive. Like, what are you talking about? Like, nah, that ain't possible. Like, what's going on? Like, I ain't thinking that.
I don't know. I think I brought this up. I think it was last week that after that there was the Natty Carmella Nikki segment, but like later in the night there was the Carmella Ellsworth segment where he's being interviewed and he's obviously hurt, and she keeps asking him. The interviewer keeps asking him questions like, "Are you hurt?" And Carmella comes along. She's like, "Obviously he's hurt," and shit like that. And so she did that last week, and now she did it again this week. So I kind of like them continuing on this. People are probably confused, like, what is going on? I think it's smart. I think that Carmella is smart. Carmella is smart enough to know that she could use a guy like Ellsworth as a pawn. So for me, that's where this is going. Ellsworth is helpless, and he has no one.
And that's why they call you the working genius.
That's why I'm always coming up with something.
Yep, you dig a little deeper.
So I'm thinking that for Carmella, this is her character, evolving even more. Now she's done with Nikki. They're gonna move on with the Nikki Natty thing. So now it's Carmella needs something next. And what is that gonna be? Well, I think she's gonna use Ellsworth as a pawn, and hopefully that goes somewhere.
Yeah. Moving on, we have the women's match, the championship match between Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch. They show a little previews of what happened last week with La Luchadora, which we spoke about. And I'll tell you what, I didn't catch that match. I didn't go back. But the way Becky Lynch went from the rope to the move where then she got the disarm, she should use that like not as a luchador. Like that shit was tight. But it wasn't that long of a match either. You know what I'm saying? Like we said before, like by the time you look, like the show was like going pretty quick and it was entertaining. But Yeah, there was a few botches in that match too.
Little sloppy.
Little sloppy, a little sloppy. It was. I don't want to put the full blame on Alexa Bliss, but she had like she was out of position in a few spots, like one spot outside the ring. Um, when Becky went for the disarmor, she kind of like was a little far away. When they were doing the reverse pins, she was like not getting herself up on time. But I don't want to like go too in on the match. It was good for what it was. It was entertaining. Another La Luchadora comes out and basically distracts what the hell's going on, and I'm like, who the hell is this? I really don't. I really can't think of who it could be. Like from what I saw though, it looked like it was a black girl, so it might be Naomi, but I'm not sure.
For me, I'm absolutely confused, to be honest. I was hoping I would be able to drop some kind of theory here in this part of the podcast, but I don't know. She did look like a black girl at some moments, and then some moments I remember seeing her hands though, and her hands didn't. Her hands looked a lot lighter. I'm thinking Naomi hasn't been around, and Naomi would be a decent feud with Becky, I guess. And they said Naomi was injured though recently, unless they were selling that for why she hasn't been around, and now she'll come in and have bad blood with Becky. I guess I don't really know who it is. I've read some people think Mickey James, which isn't too far fetched because she was on NXT recently.
Yeah.
But I really don't know, which, I mean, it's intriguing for me because there's another curveball that I did not see coming.
Yeah. Honestly though, I'm looking at a picture of the La Luchadora from Tuesday, and now like I can see their face kind of, and I don't think it's Naomi. I mean, I know it's a woman, but yo, she look a little mannish. Whoever this person is, like, I don't know. They gotta. Knowing WWE next week, they'll expose La Luchadora, and it will be a totally different person that played it this week. You know what I mean?
I can see that too. I can see that too.
Yeah.
Why let people speculate based on what they see instead of just hitting us with someone brand new?
And I don't want to move on too quick, but that one spot where Alexa Bliss had her arm and it looked broken. It looked legit broken.
When I saw that, I felt the same. But I think it was them being smart about, selling it. I think Alexa just happens to be double jointed.
Yeah.
And so, she was, selling the shit out of it. But it looked like gross.
Her doing that made up for any mistake she made early on, because she just pulled another trick out of her bag. Like, just when you think like, man, like I said, I wasn't really a fan of her, but then her promo work and week after week, okay, she's looking good, and then I was like, damn, she's kind of messing up. And then she hits that, and then she pops it back, and boom, and I'm like, damn, she pulled another trick out of the bag. I'm back on board. You know what I mean? Like, it was cool. It was cool, because she had me fooled. For a minute, I was like, damn, no, they're never going to let Becky use that move again. Like, I really thought it was legit.
Also, I don't even know if we mentioned it, but the spot where she pulls her arm back, it looked like she could have pulled it out of her shoulder socket.
Anybody else, their arm would have been broken.
So I think that along with Alexa selling her arm the way she did towards the end makes me just feel like she must be like double jointed, and they used it to sell some of these moves. But it looked gross.
Word. That was cool. That was cool. But now we'll move on. Finally, Renee Young goes backstage, and she just looks like she don't want to interview this guy at all. She got it written all over her face. She knocks on the door. Maurice comes out and looks at her and goes, "You hit my husband. If I was you, like, I'll be, like, scared right now. Like, I'll leave. Like, I wouldn't be standing right here." And Miz is like, babe, I got this. You know what I mean? He starts talking his trash. He's like, yo, stop breathing on me. Like, everybody move. So, and then he starts talking more trash. Who pops up, and all of a sudden, Renee's face, you see the whole expression just changes. She's smiling. Security standing next to Miz, but it's not the security we saw. It's motherfucking Dean Ambrose, the lunatic fringe. And he goes from there. He just whoops Miz's ass. How'd you feel
Um,
about that?
I like that. I like that. Again, we didn't even have to see. They're building this nicely. They're little small segments. We're seeing Miz and Ambrose. I like that they're going with this Miz Ambrose thing. I think it could be dope. They've been doing it right so far. I love the way Maurice opened the door and addressed Renee because that's her man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we know Maurice could get in that ring too. So
Yep.
when she said that, I was like, that's exactly how she should have answered the door. Like, yo, like on some, if you ever touch my husband again,
Yep.
type shit. So
Yep.
I was cool with that. I was digging the whole thing.
Ambrose kicks ass. He picks up the walkie-talkie. Boop. All clear. That was
That
yo,
was a great
and
moment.
you
That was a
hear the
great way to end
crowd.
it.
You hear the crowd outside laughing. Like in the arena, they were laughing. Like that was a legit funny moment. And that's all we need. Like we don't need nothing else. We just need him to fuck niggas up. Go get on the walkie-talkie. All clear. Good. It's a wrap. Next week he's fighting for the title, for the IC
Or
title.
say some funny shit. Even him just being in a security shirt. That's like Ambrose. You know what I mean? That's Ambrose doing what he got to do type shit. Just popping up in a fucking security shirt type shit. Like, so I dug the segment.
Yep, and from there we get the main event of the night, baby. AJ Styles defends his belt against Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. And yo, this has some good spots, man. Like it was a short match as well. I think it was about like maybe 14 to 13 minutes long. Not even, probably like 10 to 11 minutes long because I think like the final 2 minutes or a minute and some change was John Cena coming out at the end. Not to spoil you or anything, but we're already at the end of the episode anyway. And yeah, man, like that shit was dope. They had one spot where they got Baron Corbin on the table and Miz and AJ Styles both jumped off, put him through the table. The spot with Corbin when he hit the end of days, but at the same time Ziggler catches him in the zigzag or whatever they call his move again. And that shit was awesome, man. That shit was really dope.
I think you felt like it was a shorter match than it was because you don't have to watch it with commercial breaks.
Oh.
But they started the match when the entrances started. It was about 9:25, 9:30. So it was when the match kicked off. It was probably like 9:35, 9:40. So it had some decent time to it. The spots in this match were awesome.
Yeah.
The end of days with the zigzag, like you said. The super kick Ziggler delivered to Corbin to get him onto the announcers table was dope. Them doing whatever they had to do to take out Corbin. And I loved it again because, here what they're doing is they know Corbin's not going to win. But what are they going to do? Just like they did with Harper, they're going to make him look dominant. It doesn't make sense for a person to not win a match and then not even look good in it. Like, have them be dominant. Have them look like it took so much to get them out of the match. And then, they lose, but they don't lose much momentum because now, in the future, when we see them trying to get guys like Corbin or Harper into that main event picture, we'll know, like, yeah, they've dominated some of these main eventers. They didn't grab the title, but they were involved and they, had strong showings. So it's good.
And the one thing, seeing Corbin in the ring with Styles and Ziggler, I was like, you know what? This just shows me like Corbin eventually will be a champion. He will. Like I can see him. He looks champion material. Whether it's, I think it's gonna be as a bad guy, and I think it's gonna be perfect for him. I think he's gonna do well, and it just shows me like, yeah, he deserves to be in there with them. And when it is time, like I'm not gonna be mad at it, but it's just not his time right now.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of Ziggler's super kicks, when they were in the ring and then Styles went for the Styles Clash and basically he reversed it and then fucking kicked Styles' face off, his nose off his face. And then they went for the pin and Corbin was kind of late getting in to break it up.
I was just about to mention that. That was the one thing that it didn't ruin the whole match because they still had a strong finish. But that super kick was so vicious that I know it just looked bad having Styles have to kick out of that. Because first of all, you shouldn't be kicking out. Smackdown has done a great job at not having people just kick out of finishers. You know what I mean? Finishers seem like legitimate finishers more than ever now because for a while, everybody's kicking out of finishers in these big matches. But that super kick looked so awesome that it didn't even look right. Styles kicking out. So Corbin being late, it was just magnified that he was late on that.
It was just like an awkward moment, but all in all, they picked it up. The one thing I want to touch on too is the fact that AJ Styles, Corbin hit the end of days on Ziggler, and then AJ Styles hits the forearm on Corbin and gets him out the ring, and doesn't even hit a finisher or anything on Ziggler, just pins him.
I like that. I was gonna say I like that. Go ahead.
That's gonna tie into a future storyline probably where Corbin's gonna be like, you know what? But at the end of the day, you pinned Ziggler off of my finisher. I still deserve a shot. I still deserve a chance because, you know what I mean? Like, it was me who basically ended the match. You just capitalized on me not paying attention. You caught me with the forearm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was smart. I thought, it puts over, the end of days even more. Not only did he deliver it, but then there was about 5 seconds, of him getting the phenomenal forearm before Styles even got to pin Ziggler. So it looks even more strong. So I liked it.
Yep. And then from there, John Cena comes out, running to the ring. He extends his hand. And he's like, this is just like an extension of respect. You know what this is. You know what this is. He's telling him. And Styles puts the belt on the floor. He looks at him. He really doesn't want to. But he does it. He shakes his hand. And Cena tells him, I'm taking that belt. And then Styles is like, we'll see about that. Like, he gets right back into being a bagger. We'll see about that. I loved how that ended. I really, even though we talked about it last week, I was like, I don't really personally want to see them jump back into Cena Styles because they've already had this feud, and I feel their match at SummerSlam was match of the year, and nothing's going to top that. Hopefully they do top it, and maybe they'll get match of the year 2016, match of the year 2017, who knows? But it actually brought me back into like, okay, I want to see them fight more. Like, okay, like just that whole confrontation with them, like just looking at each other, the respect I saw between each other when they looked each other in the eyes, and just knowing like this was the man for years in WWE, and this was the man for years in TNA. This was the fantasy book. Who is the man? Who really is? Is it Cena? Is it Styles? Is it Cena? Is it Styles? For years, people argued. I always personally felt it was Styles. And I still do feel Styles. And Styles, me and you talked about it, and they even mentioned in SmackDown, by him winning and closing the year as the champ, has had the best first year debut in WWE than anybody has ever had.
Yeah, they've been putting that over. I heard the commentators mention it, and I mean, there's no argument. There's absolutely no argument. I mean, I enjoyed the way that segment ended. Styles Cena. I don't mind seeing it again. I know we were talking about it being so quick. Cena just jumping back in. I just don't want it to hurt Styles' momentum. It's like whenever we see someone go into the ring with Reigns, I fear for that person's momentum. The person against Reigns. The person against Cena. I don't want it. I don't want them to slow down. I don't want them to slow down the train that is AJ Styles right now. He's been rolling, and what I do like though is Cena shows up and AJ Styles doesn't run. That's a problem. That's been a problem with WWE booking their heel champions for a while. Is that they play this coward heel, and whereas Owens looks like such a weak champion, Styles has looked anything but. He looks vicious. He looks strong all the time. He's rarely ever running. Even when he left the ring last week when Corbin came in and had the confrontation with Ziggler, he didn't do it like he was running. He did it like this ain't my problem. It was like let me hop on out of here. It wasn't a scared kind of thing. And again, Cena comes and he doesn't back down, and that's the kind of heel champion I want to see. I don't want to see a heel champion that everyone feels like, oh, this person needs help and this person needs that. Nah, Styles been on his own and he's been killing it. So I did like that. It'll be interesting. I hope they have Styles beat Cena though, and that Styles comes out really looking like, who's gonna take me down? You know what I mean? Yep. And whoever his Mania opponent is, that'll be really intriguing to see. Maybe it's whoever wins the Rumble. I don't really know what they got setting up. For Styles, maybe Samoa Joe comes out. I don't know how quickly they're going to throw him in the picture, but that Styles Samoa Joe would be kind of dope.
Definitely.
But I like what they're doing with Styles. I hope this doesn't kill his momentum. Is my only thing.
all in all, I say for the week of wrestling so far, it's been good. I would give SmackDown the edge overall this week. I have to admit that SmackDown was intriguing. It was dope. Great storytelling. For the amount of time that they have, they keep you engaged. Before we end it there, on that note, move on to our next topic. I have a question. Do you think Styles holds the belt until Mania?
That's what I'm afraid of. At this point, nobody seems to even be ready, like on SmackDown anyway, to take that belt off of Styles. They haven't built anyone up properly enough to say that they can compete with Styles. Surprisingly, Miz would be the next closest, and he's not even there yet. You know what I mean? In terms of who's hot right now. Cena is the only one, I guess, that can just jump right in and say, yeah, I could beat Styles. So I see why they're doing it. Like, who else would be against Styles at the Rumble if not Cena? As a big ticket kind of championship match. So I get that. But now I'm worried because, there's always this talk about Cena, getting that 16-time thing or breaking it, going 17 times.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be forced. Like, I'd be fine if it happened. Like, yeah, if he breaks, that record, it's cool as long as it's not forced. Like with Charlotte, like the joke that she's going to be a 16-time champion soon. Like, it's you see that they're going for it and it's cool, but let it just be more natural, And right now, it feels like unless they force it, because Cena's kind of more part-time now, unless they force it and it happens quickly, it might never happen. So now I'm afraid they're going to try to force it. If Styles is going to hold the belt till Mania, I'm going to say, I don't know. I don't know if you heard, actually, before I answer that, they're having Elimination Chamber. Spoiler alert, if anyone doesn't want to hear it, mute your podcast. Fuck that, don't mute us. You never mute the No Politics podcast. Scratch that. But the Phoenix Arena, I don't know what arena, it's an arena in Phoenix, I guess, they kind of leaked the potential main event for Elimination Chamber, which is supposed to be Cena Styles, I think 2 out of 3 falls. So now I'm thinking, if anything, maybe they have Styles lose to Cena at the Rumble, then Styles gets it back, and then he loses to Cena at Mania. I feel like it would be too much. Too much of them.
Yeah.
But it would get Cena his 16th and 17th reign, and on the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania, as breaking the record, becoming the 17-time champion, and it's over Styles, who isn't a WWE guy. So it just kind of, how they are with giving these.
All in all, WWE comes out on top, and
exactly.
But that just now, like, now I can't just move on now because now that just leaves Taker in a position where, like we talked about last week, like, is he gonna go up against Cena? Is he gonna go up against Styles? It's looking like it's gonna be Styles versus Cena at WrestleMania. So what do they do for Taker? Who knows?
Yeah, I think maybe Cena beats Styles now, then he retains in the 2 out of 3 falls, and then goes a bit. I have no clue, to be honest. Which is why I was struggling to answer your question. Does Styles hold the title until Mania? Let's go with no.
Okay, I'm gonna go with yeah.
I hope so.
Okay, and on that note, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with more music and sports, and we'll be right back.
Now we'll demonstrate how radioactivity is controlled in the lab.
One day I'll get even. Bookworm, shookworm. I'll get even.
Movement number 4. Dragon seeks path.
Yo, beats forever dope, no denial on production. Plus, all my niggas get wild, no discussion. Whoa, get wild, no discussion. And shout out to my dope niggas live from the dungeon. Whoa, roll your boat. My niggas got the weight up and they get it by the boat like whoa. Shout out to my shinobis and my homies on the block. Middle fingers to the police like whoa. I guess that I'ma start the verse. I got the coffin ready, pivot, go ahead to park the hearse. I rip the shit, I spit the gift, now let me spark the curse. Bump that plate, that shit, and put it in reverse like whoa.
And we're back. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna jump into sports. We're gonna talk about the NFL. The playoffs is right around the corner. This is the last week of the season coming up. A lot of different teams playing for positions in the playoffs, like the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, like we talked about last week. Giants clinched. Falcons clinched. Dallas already clinched. Oakland clinched. We gotta talk about Oakland, man. Derek Carr. Oh
That's
man,
great.
that was bad. New England clinched. Kansas City clinched with that win.
I believe everyone in the AFC has clinched, and everything is just positioning at this point.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let's get right into it. I guess let's start with Oakland, man. Derek Carr, what a year he is having. And then right before the playoffs, breaks his leg.
It sucks. I've been watching Derek Carr closely this year because, as I've mentioned before, or maybe I haven't, I don't know if it was on the podcast, but he was my fantasy football quarterback, and he's just awesome. Like I've loved watching the Oakland Raiders this year. You know, right off the bat in that Saints game, going for the 2, they went for 2 twice that game. They were just gutsy, and week after week they have these, Blackjack Del Rio going for it on 4th, and going for the win all the time. And I just love this team, and they're young, and they're putting up points, so they're exciting. They got 2 awesome weapons, Crabtree and Cooper. They use all 3 of their running backs, Latavius, Jalen Richard, DeAndre Washington. They were just an awesome team to watch, and it just kind of sucked. And then defensively, they got Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin. They got names on that defense.
Yeah.
They haven't been the best defensive team, but they got some names on that defense. And
a lot of promise.
A lot of promise, man. And just for it to end like this, it's tough.
I was talking about it with my coworker earlier too, and he was like, "Yeah, well, they're saying if they make the Super Bowl, maybe he might be able to come back." I'm like, "Bro, they're not without him. They're not making the Super Bowl. Who's their backup quarterback? I don't know.
It's Matt McGloin.
Who the hell's that?"
I remember him starting a few games years ago, but he's obviously not Derek Carr.
Yeah,
is the point of it. They're not going to get there without him. And even if they did somehow miraculously get there, Carr, it's doubtful that Carr is going to be ready in time.
Yeah.
So it's a tough way to end the season. They might, if they don't win this week, they don't even get the bye. They lose out on the bye if the Chiefs jump them, and it's a sad way to end what looked like a promising season.
And not only that, like Carr was up there in the conversation for MVP of the year. Like before Brady, like maybe Brady probably had a couple weeks in, but as of like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, like they were talking about Carr was leading in the MVP votes, and then like the following week Brady went off and it was like, okay, Brady now jumped him in the votes. But like all year it's been Carr, Prescott, Zeke, and Brady. Who's gonna be the MVP? And then Prescott and Zeke, it's like, are they gonna be the first guys to ever win an MVP and a freaking Rookie of the Year award? Like, would that happen? I know for a fact, I think Zeke's the Rookie of the Year, hands down, easily. And honestly, I could even say like I would prefer him MVP over. And this coming from a Giants fan. I think I would not be mad if he won MVP over Tom Brady, because to see a rookie do what he's doing and the way he's playing, he's a beast. That kid is a beast, man.
He's a beast. The argument is always, because they're in Dallas, is it just the offensive line? I've seen Zeke destroy at Ohio State. I think he could be doing this anywhere. Maybe not to the levels he's doing it in Dallas, because that O-line should get a lot of credit, and as it does, I think that's the only argument. Like, but would he be doing this if not for the Dallas offensive line? So I don't know if he wins the MVP, but he is doing some great things in his rookie year. Yeah. Definitely Rookie of the Year.
So who you think gets MVP? Brady?
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's the. But he's the other one up there in contention too. They're saying, yeah. Hey.
I don't know. Brady just destroys shit. It's hard to go against Brady. But the thing that does go against Brady is the Patriots went 3-1 without him. You know, the Patriots, went 3-1 with Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett. So it does. They're obviously a different animal with Brady, but is he the most valuable to his team? Where it's almost like his team can't do shit without him, and that's just not true. They'll find ways. Belichick always finds ways. So that's the argument against Brady. Speak on Matt Ryan. I don't want to sound biased.
For me, I think it's either Matt Ryan or Zeke. Like I already said, Matt Ryan, bro. Like, think about it. From how you just broke it down, is he the most valuable without? If his team didn't have him, would they be doing shit? If Atlanta didn't have Matt Ryan, I don't see them doing shit. I mean, Julio Jones needs someone to throw those bombs to him, and Matt Ryan right now looking like the only guy on that roster who plays quarterback that's capable of that shit.
One thing you can say, too, is that even when Julio hasn't played, and even when Julio's been hurt, Matt Ryan finds ways to, get it to every receiver. Last week they said something like, on his first 13 completions, he hit 9 different receivers or some shit like that. Like, he hits, so many receivers. Yeah. They've got Kevin Coleman. They've got Freeman. They got a bunch of weapons around him, don't get me wrong. And our offensive line has been doing work. But, we got guys like Taylor Gabriel, Aldrick Robinson, like guys who were nowhere recently.
You're right. So even with your whole tight end situation, Jacob Tammy and the other dude, Talofiona, how you say his name?
Levine Toilolo.
Toilolo. Yeah, like, those two dudes, like, who the fuck are they? But, they're getting involved, and Matt Ryan's spreading the ball, and he's making dudes like fucking Taylor Gabriel get freaking... He's getting 2 catches per game, and it's like 90 yards on both of those. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. So, I mean, I fuck with Matt Ryan, as the people like to call him Matty Ice. And, I wouldn't be mad if he won either. I mean, honestly, anybody but Brady. Fuck Brady.
I don't mind Brady, but it's just, come on. Belichick will win without Brady. They're not the same without Brady, of course. But like I said, they'd find ways to win without Brady, and they did find ways to win without Brady. Belichick won with Matt Castle, the year Brady tore his ACL in, I believe, like 08, 09. Yeah. So, they're capable, When I think most valuable, like, team can't do shit without him, I just can't say that it's Brady.
Yeah. But moving on from that conversation, Green Bay and Detroit face each other this week, and then this is all about placement, right? Within the conference.
This is about who wins the NFC North. One gets that home game. I don't think the Lions can win a bye at this point. But maybe they can actually.
Who has the bye right now? Dallas and Atlanta.
For sure. They're locked into like home field advantage.
Yeah.
Right now the Falcons have the bye, the second bye. But all they have to do is win to secure it. But if they lose and the Seahawks win, I believe the Seahawks get it. But I think if the Falcons and the Seahawks lose and the Lions win, I think they'll be 10-6.
Yeah.
And they'll be tied with Atlanta at 10-6. Seahawks would have a worse record, and then I don't know who wins the tiebreak between the Lions and the Falcons. It could be the Lions though. So they're playing for a bye, but I'm not sure. But
I was hearing something like that if the Giants lose and then the Packers lose, then Redskins could sneak their way in that wild card spot.
Redskins are still alive.
Yeah.
They're still alive. I think the Bucks are the only ones eliminated. The Bucks are the only ones. It was the Bucks and Redskins were still alive going into last week. But I think the Bucks got eliminated last week.
There's actually still a shot for the Bucks.
Is there?
Like 6 teams gotta lose and like it's
okay.
It's like a crazy stat. Yeah, it's like crazy like chance, but they have like you said 1% chance. But nah, I doubt they'll make it. But yeah, it's basically the Redskins are trying to sneak their way in there, and if they do, then my division's like the craziest division. You know what I'm saying? Dallas, Giants, Redskins.
This year they are. In years prior, it was your division was won by the 9 and 7 team. So
shots. But yeah, man, like it's cool. I'm really looking forward to getting into playoff talk. Hopefully, none of us start the playoff talk off with heartbreaks. You know, hopefully the conference finals will be my team and your team. That'll just be like amazing.
I don't want to deal with that.
And what are the chances Giants and Patriots again?
Man, I hope not.
I hope not
I don't want to see
either.
the Giants. I don't want to see the Giants in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I just can't deal with that. And I've spoke on this. I just can't deal with, Brady can't beat us. I don't even want to hear it. Like, just all this nonsense. Like it always comes down to Eli and Brady. Meanwhile, they have whole other teams around them.
Bro,
but I just don't want to deal with
when
that.
you say that, my evil laugh comes out. For real. But, yeah, you go.
I'm just excited because the Falcons are in the playoffs for the first time since 2012 when we had that heartbreaking 49ers loss in the NFC title game. When we had a big lead, we blew it. I just hope we can make some noise. Hopefully we could grab this bye. I always feel more comfortable when I don't got to play that first week.
Word, right.
But I'm intrigued. I don't want to see the Packers in that first round. You know what I mean? I don't even want to see the Giants in that first round, to be honest. I'd rather stay out of the first round and let the other four teams eliminate each other first. You know?
I mean, I always said the same thing. Like, I don't want to see the Packers in the playoffs regardless. Like, nobody wants to see Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. And the way
especially if they come in as a 6 seed, like I'd be so tight if I'm that 3 seed.
And the way he was playing on Saturday, was it Saturday or Sunday? Didn't he throw like 5 touchdowns?
Saturday.
Yeah, didn't he throw like 5 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns?
Probably 6.
Yo, he went off, bro. Like, for real. I think like Jordy Nelson had like 3 of those shits, 2 of those touchdowns. Like, he went off. But at the same time, I want the Giants to beat the Redskins. Like, straight up. Like, even though we clinched, we ain't just going to roll over and let y'all come up in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And feel like y'all got momentum against us. Because then that'll be 2 losses to them this year.
The Giants are locked into the 5 seed, though, right?
Yeah, we're clinched. We're locked in.
No, but you're locked into you can't move from the 5, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so, no.
Because whoever wins between the Lions and the Packers becomes a 10-win team, and they're probably the 4 seed.
No, but we're a 10-win team right now. We're 10-5.
But you're the wild card, so you can't move.
Yeah,
you can only go down. So even if you go 10-6, the loser of the Lions Packers is 9-7, I think. So that'll put them below you anyway, and the Redskins can't jump you. So you can't play. I don't think you can play the Redskins. You definitely can't play the Redskins if they were to get in. I think your biggest fear has to be if the Packers beat the Lions.
Oh.
If the Packers beat the Lions and they get the 4 seed,
then we face the Packers.
Then you'd face the Packers.
So so Seattle hands down. If they don't get the bye and you guys get the bye, Seattle faces whoever's the 6th seed, hands down.
No. If Seattle loses and goes 9-6-1, I believe the NFC North winner is the 3 seed and Seattle's the 4 seed. The thing is, Seattle faces, I think, the Niners. They face the Niners or the Rams. Probably the Niners. I'm pretty sure it's the Niners. So that should be a win for Seattle.
Yeah, because then if they're the 4th seed, then we face them first round, right?
Yeah, I don't think
they'll be home.
It's not going to be an easy first round for you, whether it's Green Bay or
It doesn't
Seattle.
matter who we're facing. Yeah, like, damn. But who cares? We're prepared. We're built for this. But yeah, man. So that all in all, that's football in a nutshell. Let's move on. There's not really that much to talk about from basketball. I did bring up a little earlier, like George Karl is out here fucking popping mad shit. He need to sit his old ass down and stop trying to get publicity for his new book. I think he's coming out with a book or some shit. But he's talking about Carmelo Anthony, always wanted everything to be about him. And J.R. Smith came out, urged for Carmelo Anthony to please not listen to him. Like, basically saying, like, he's played out. His opinion means nothing. And then today, I get a notification of George Karl saying that Damian Lillard is a problem for the Trailblazers, and that he's the root of their struggles. Like, what do you mean? Like, he's their fucking only star who fucking balls. Like, what are you talking about? Like, damn, no wonder why you ain't never did shit in your career. Like, what, he took the Sonics to the ship and lost like in 1980 fucking 7? Like, what the fuck? For real, bro. And then Terry Stott, the Trailblazers coach, comes out after the game and says George Karl needs to stay in his lane. That's crazy.
Hey, that's my coat. No, I'm not supporting it at all. I didn't like George Karl. I don't know if a lot of Denver Nuggets fans feel this way. I'm obviously an oddball because I don't know any Denver Nuggets fans. The extent of my Denver Nuggets fan, interaction comes from like Denver Nuggets blogs. So, but
Loser.
I was never really a fan of George Karl. Obviously you know about our first round exits every year. But just I felt like he was always stubborn. He was very stubborn. That you could just tell that about him and his coaching style. He's just very stubborn, and I can see him pulling this kind of shit just for as you said, if he's releasing a book, and he's not really relevant right now. Nobody's talking about George Karl, so if he wants to release a book and
his last gig was with the Kings, and DeMarcus Cousins definitely did not like that guy.
He's not with the Kings anymore?
No, I don't think he's with the Kings anymore.
I mean, and if he was, who cares? That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
That's why, if anything, if he's dropping a book, that's probably why he's, popping shit.
Speaking of DeMarcus Cousins, I don't know how much you, like, listen to NBA gossip, but, like, a video came out of DeMarcus Cousins, like, going off on a reporter in the locker room, like, the reporter wrote an article about Cousins and his brother, and he was like, don't you ever fucking talk about my brother. Say what you want about me, but not my family. And he was going in, and it's like this little old white dude, and he's like, looking at him like, okay. Just give me more material so I can write about your freaking ass and make you look even worse, you freaking motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And the security's like, come on, that's enough, cuz Boogie. And he like, nah, fuck that. Like, just no, don't ever say that nothing about my brother. Like, yo, that's crazy.
DeMarcus Cousins is a real one. Like, he's a real one, boy. Like, I would never want to get on his bad side. He's a real one.
Word, man.
George Karl was probably wrong. Every time DeMarcus Cousins got mad at him, George Karl was wrong. I'm going to tell you that. DeMarcus Cousins, I'm siding with you, boy.
Right? Trust me. And speaking of basketball, also the holiday games for Christmas just passed. And Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors. What a hell of a game that was. Cavs came back at the end and just won. I seen a few highlights. Honestly, I watched the Knicks game, and after that we lost by like 4 points, 5 points, something like that. I was like, fuck that. I'm not watching no other game. I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just enjoy my Christmas. But I did see the highlights, and that game started off crazy. Like, there was a point where Durant got the dunk, and then LeBron got a block, and then somehow the ball gets to Golden State, they get the dunk, they inbound it, throw it down, LeBron was still at the other end, he dunks it mad hard. That was a crazy ass game, yo.
It lived up to his billing, you know what I mean? It's what people expected. They want to see, you hate when, a matchup is built up and then it kind of flops. It's kind of like one-sided or it's just trash. But this one, lived up to the hype and is a good preview for what, everyone pretty much thinks is going to be the finals this
Exactly. Year. And then this time with Kevin Durant in it. So, woo! I look forward to that. Unless, my Knicks, we could spoil the Cavs, Nah. I ain't that, like, freaking delusional. But anyway, that Knicks game, though, I don't know if you watched that. It came on early at 12 o'clock. But, bro, we were winning the first half. The second half comes. Somehow, Kelly Olynyk hits, like, 2 3-pointers in a row. Isaiah Thomas checks back in from the bench. Fucking ices it off with another 3-pointer. We're down by 9. We were playing catch up all the way to literally the last minute of the game. My boy Porzingis hits like 2 threes. No, Melo hits a 3. Porzingis hits a 3. We get a stop. We're like 40 seconds left. We throw it down Porzingis. He's running the court. He comes up for the layup. They foul him and 1. We tie it up. Tie game. There's like 40 seconds left. I'm like, yo, we back in it, baby.
And then y'all lose, right?
Then what happens? The dude on the team with the worst field goal percentage, Marcus Smart, drains a fucking 3, wide open in the corner, dagger, boom, right on us. Like, damn, son, for real. We get the ball, though. We still got a chance. We give the ball to Melo. He isos in the corner. Avery Bradley's holding him. Steals the ball from Melo. I'm like, how? How? So we're down 3. They steal the ball, they inbound it, we foul Isaiah Thomas. He hits the first one, misses the second. We still got a shot. We get the ball, we inbound it. Now it's like 20 seconds left. Melo gets the ball again, drives it in, lays up. We're down 2. They give the ball to Isaiah Thomas again. We foul him. He hits both. No, wait, we were down 4, yeah, we're down 2. He hits both. We're down 4 again. We call timeout. It's our last timeout. We inbound it. Who gets something happened where we had I think we had to inbound again. It went out of bounds when we went to go inbound it. So then we go to inbound it again. We give it to Porzingis. He turns around and like basically like hook it in real quick, or like pull up and like just get it in. And at the same time, Horford like tips it a little and hits his hand, and then they just call a block, like no call. The Boston Celtics catch the ball. The game ends. I think we lost by 4 points. It was a heartbreaker. But damn, yo, I thought we were coming back, man. I was hype, yo. It was crazy. Too bad Denver didn't get no game, though.
See, you knew I was about to take a shot at you. I was gonna say typical Knicks shit. I just told you was gonna lose that game when y'all had 40 seconds left. I could have told you.
Yo, and then tonight we had another game, man, and we went to overtime and we lost again by like 4 points. But Melo got kicked out. Fucking Melo elbowed Cephalosha in the face, and Cephalosha like wanted to pop. Melo went to walk off, but then Melo turned around like, "What's up?" Like I ain't scared of you, my G. Like, what's up? And then like everyone tried to intervene, and then Cephalosha was popping shit, and Melo was walking to their side with him, like talking in his face, like, "What up? We could do it. I don't care. We could go." Like right now, Melo was telling him. I was like, "Damn, all right, man. Like maybe that's the fire we need in Melo." But all in all, he got ejected. Cephalosha got ejected, and we ended up losing the game. But yo, man, I know you're not a Knicks fan, but I'm gonna talk to you like you are a Knicks fan, because Derrick Rose, man, like everybody popped shit on him, yo, on his flight to New York. He got injured and shit like that. But yo, he's looking good, bro. He's looking good. I'm loving Derrick Rose, and he loves New York, and he said he wants to just bring that excitement back to New York, bring us to the playoffs, and just give his all and retire, Nick. And I believe him, because he's one of those dudes, he's dedicated to this game of basketball and whatever team he plays for.
Too bad y'all ain't win like the Nuggets tonight. Nah, but I do actually catch a decent amount of more of the Knicks than I would like to catch, because I'm in New York, so we always get the Knicks broadcast. Y'all on the brink. Like, you're definitely gonna be a threat in the East. Coming out of the East, you're clearly a threat. I love KP.
Yeah.
It's just y'all lack consistency. It seems like, sometimes it's almost like the Giants. It feels similar to that. It's just like sometimes y'all could beat strong teams, and then sometimes y'all just come close and y'all lose, and then sometimes y'all just don't look good. But I like your chances this year, especially coming out the East. You should be a top seed in the East. But nobody, realistically, it's kind of, not that the season is boring, but it's just kind of disappointing, because we all just kind of know it's Cavs Warriors. That's what it's leading to.
Yeah.
As a Nuggets fan, it's easier for me, because I'm not looking to like knock off the Warriors. I'm just looking for progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is the problem with New York fans. New York fans just want chips, I feel like, a lot of times.
Bro.
And, they're so used to that mindset that, they never want to be in rebuilding mode.
But how many years, bro? It's like 50 years since our last ship.
No, I know. I'm talking about New York fans. When I say New York fans, I'm talking about Giants too.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that even the New York Knicks rarely build through the draft. They're always out getting free agents because they want to win now all the time. They never go through a rebuilding process because the market demands chips.
Yeah.
And so as a New York fan, it's always like, you see your team, you're like, yeah, maybe we got a shot at the Cavs. And like as a Nuggets fan, I'm more humbled. So I'm never like, oh yeah, we could knock off the Warriors in a 7-game series. No, I just kind of want to see us grow. I'm gonna wait for the Warriors to fall apart, and I'm gonna wait for the Cavs to spread their talents out before. And hopefully we got some young guys. So we'll see in about 7 years. You're gonna see us.
All right. But not just talking about our teams that we love and are fans of. The Bulls tonight had a close game with the Brooklyn Nets, and Jimmy Butler hit the buzzer beater on some Kemba Walker in the finals when he crossed dude over and hit the backstep buzzer. Like, yo, Jimmy Butler hit by not Jonovic, however you say his name. Because nobody really watches the Brooklyn Nets. They don't even play him on TV in New York, and you live in New York. But anyway, basically he hit him with the step back. Drained it. Buzzer, like, yo, Jimmy G buckets, and the G stands for gets. That's what they were saying, for real. For real.
I didn't see it, but it sounds dope. I mean, the Nets are just the Nets now. I'm surprised I don't take advantage of the fact that we could just get Nets tickets for like $5 and watch other teams beat them. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, I know a few people that do.
Thing we're doing yet.
I know a few people that do, trust me. They be in Barclays in the suites, like, damn, how you afford that? What you mean? I got it for the low. They were selling them right there on the corner tonight. 2 for $20.
That is.
But yeah, damn. OKC been on a tear. Without Durant, Russell Westbrook is just on another fucking level. The other night, I don't know, last week sometime, he fucking destroyed Boston with a fucking buzzer beater that was off the chain. They destroyed the Timberwolves on Christmas. They're another one. They're on a tear. I dig what they're doing. Spurs without fucking Tim Duncan are still doing good. They got Kawhi Leonard is stepping up. He's showing that he is a star. He's a guy that you could build a team around. Tony Parker's still there. They got David West. They got LaMarcus Aldridge, of course. Ginobili's still there. I mean, everyone thought he was going to retire, and then Tim Duncan ends up retiring. But speaking of Tim Duncan, they retired his number. That was a cool moment. His kids were there and shit. That was dope. Speaking of retired numbers, Shaq got his number retired in Miami the other day as well, which he said he was surprised. He didn't expect that. So that's cool, man. There's a lot of cool things going on in the league. I look forward to seeing how everything plays out.
I always liked how the Spurs just so seamlessly move and transition through the years. They lose Duncan. They bring in Aldridge. They're lowering Parker's minutes and Ginobili's minutes, and they have Danny Green and Patty Mills stepping up.
Don't
Kawhi
forget
Leonard's the next star.
Pau Gasol too.
Exactly. Like they just find a way to smoothly just transition through these eras, and it's dope. It's beautiful to watch. Popovich knows what his system needs. He knows who fits. I've always admired the Spurs, and they never get much attention. It doesn't matter how I don't hear about the Spurs throughout the whole season, because when I look at the standings in April and in February and March, they're the 2 seed or the 1 seed in the West. You know what I mean? Like,
yep, always.
They're amazing.
They're another one who's always consistent.
Consistency, exactly.
Yep.
Who's the other team you mentioned?
I mentioned OKC. I mentioned
Westbrook. Yeah. Westbrook he's averaging a triple-double. He's unreal right now. You know what I mean? You don't even have to. There's not even a real argument that you can make. Just everyone knows it. Like, if you haven't been put on notice that Westbrook is that guy right now, like, you sleeping.
Yeah.
Because no argument. He's the undisputed man in the league right now.
Yeah, for real. He's in the MVP race. he's holding it down on his own right now. Like that's a dude where he is the most valuable player to his team because without him, where the fuck would they be? They don't got Ibaka, they don't got Durant, they fucking got rid of everybody. Dion Waiters is gone, everyone.
No Harden from a few
No
years
Harden
back,
from exactly. Jeff Green they even had. He's not there no more. But another team I don't want to forget about, the Clippers. The Clippers are playing really well, and they can be a potential. I would love to see them and Golden State in the Western Finals and see how that turns out. I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think Golden State would take care of them, but Clippers are a threat. You can't sleep on them.
I've always disliked the Clippers, a lot because Chris Paul knows how to cheat and get the reps on his side and get calls a lot. Blake Griffin flops a lot. Like that's why I've always disliked the Clippers. They have a ton. The thing with me and the Clippers is that they have a ton of talent every year. It seems like for the last few years, and they just can't put it together for whatever reason. I can't even identify the issue, but they can't seem to put it together. So every year, the Clippers grab a top seed, and it's like, but should I really fear them?
Yeah, you're right.
Every year they kind of flop.
You're right, and honestly, they're off to a hot start this year, more so than any other year that they've been considered like a top team, and they just don't know how to put it together in the playoffs. Like you said, like they make it there, they're a top seed, and then they just fall off. Kind of like Kansas City, like the Chiefs. They get in and they get out, like we said last week.
Yeah, but the thing with a team like the Chiefs is, we can spot their deficiencies.
Yeah.
We can spot their weaknesses. I can't really spot, the weakness of the Clippers. They got strong guards. They got strong big men. They have shooters.
Yeah.
They have a bench player. They got Redick. They got Crawford. They got guys. You know what I mean?
They just picked up this year Brandon Bass, who they lost on Christmas to the Lakers, but Brandon Bass was going off. They were winning that whole freaking game until literally like the end. You know what I mean? Like Brandon Bass, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, JJ Redick was going off. Jamal Crawford, Chris Paul. I think Austin Rivers is still on their team. You know what I'm saying? They got Mba Mute. They got a few dudes like Jeff Green's not on their team, but Jeff Green was.
Pierce.
Paul Pierce, but he's
they
hard.
They got that veteran presence.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like it seems like they got everything covered.
Yeah.
They got a bench. They got shooters. They got big men. They got a strong guard. One of probably the best pure point guard in the league. It just doesn't. What are they missing? They have Doc Rivers at head coach. Like what is it about this team that they can't push through?
Yeah.
But I'm done trying to figure it out. That's my point. Like It's been years and years of this, and so I just I've given up on them at this point.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, all in all, like I said, I look forward to seeing how the season plays out. I'm more of a playoff guy. Like come playoffs, I'm locked in, I'm tuned in, and I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? All bets on the table. What you want to throw up? Nah, it's not that serious. But yeah, man, we're gonna move on. I don't want to forget about UFC. This going to be the last subject of the night, of the day, whatever time you're listening to this. But UFC, it's the big end of the year show, Ronda Rousey's return. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to what's going on, but this is Ronda's first fight since she got knocked out. And she's been hiding. She's been training. She's not doing media. No, she's literally been hiding, bro. She's literally been hiding. She's not doing media this whole week leading up to the fight. Usually the fights are on Saturdays, but the fight is going to be this Friday because Saturday's New Year's Eve and they don't want to do a card on New Year's Eve. But it's going to be Friday. She's fighting a girl who's a killer. Amanda Nunes just destroyed the girl who choked out the girl who knocked Ronda Rousey out. You know what I mean?
There was a lot of belt swapping.
Yeah, there was a lot of belt swapping.
With the belt right
Exactly. And the whole promotional package is centered around Ronda. They didn't even show the champion's face one time, which is crazy. And
but that worries me even more.
Yeah, right?
Because I'm not like some huge Ronda Rousey fan, but for her sake, it scares me the chance of her losing. You know, if she loses, like as a person, like that's a low because she just. You could argue that she hit rock bottom. I wouldn't say rock bottom, but I've heard a lot about her where she's like, she felt super low and she was like depressed and all of this shit. Like for her to go out there and lose again, and especially the way they're hyping her return, and like you said, they're not even showing the other fighter. Like it's kind of scary all the pressure they're putting on her.
Yeah.
And for her sake, I hope she can win.
Honestly, I'll say this, right? From the pictures of her, because I follow her on Instagram, and as much as I can see of her, because I've always been around the Rousey fan before she was in the UFC. Like, not too many people know much about me outside of this podcast, but that I've always been a mixed martial arts fan since probably like we were in 8th or 9th grade.
Before it was a thing.
Yeah, before it was a thing. And there used to be Strike Force, that organization that used to come on Showtime. And that's where Ronda Rousey got her start. And I was watching her finish girls with arm bars and then finally get her a title match against Miesha Tate and break her freaking arm. Like, literally, she twisted her arm like a pretzel. So I've been a fan of Ronda. I've been following her. And leading up to this fight, this is the most I've seen her, like, cut in shape. She got abs coming in. She's never had that because she always, even though she was a fighter, she always wanted to have some feminine, like a feminine side and show like I could be a fighter and still be pretty. You know what I mean? And embrace my body as a fighter. You know what I mean? But now she got knocked out. She's like, fuck that. I'm getting these muscles on. Like, I'm gonna come back like ripped. Like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? And she looks a lot more leaner and more cut. I even see it in her shoulders. Like, she got pecs like showing like a dude type shit. But I mean, how I see the fight going, Amanda's strong. She comes out with her hands fast and she hits hard. But Amanda needs to get close. She's not like Holly Holm. Holly Holm's a boxer. Holly Holm had like a 40-something and 2 or 3 losses record in boxing. She held multiple belts in boxing. So she's going to keep her distance. Keep Ronda at the end of her punches. Amanda's going to try to get in. And that's where Ronda's good because Ronda's a judo Olympic gold medalist. So Ronda gets a hold of her. She's throwing her. Boom. Dropping her on the floor. Doing something. Somehow I see her getting that arm bar, getting back to what we know her best for, her signature move, and hopefully she breaks her arm. And I don't mean to be so ruthless and vicious, but that's what's going to happen.
You could have just ended it. You didn't even have to say bye. You could have just ended the podcast there. That's how perfect that sounded. I like how you just sold us on that. But I like how, I'm used to dropping, the theories in WWE, but you just dropped some shit right there. I'm looking forward to it. I don't watch too much UFC. I try to tune into the bigger fights. I'm definitely going to be tuned into this one, though, and we're going to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and on that note, before we cut it off, the co-main event is Dominic Cruz versus Cody Garbrandt. If you're going to tune in, I would say watch that fight as well. Don't just tune in for the Ronda fight because that's another one where this kid is undefeated, Cody Garbrandt, and he's going against Dominic Cruz, who's basically right now damn near a legend in the sport. Dominic Cruz has a history because Cody Garbrandt comes from Team Alpha Male, and everyone in Team Alpha Male hates Dominic Cruz. They've all faced him for the belt. None of them can beat him. So Cody Garbrandt's like the last one. He's the undefeated one. He's came from boxing. He's like on a tear. I think he's like 11-0 or 12-0, and like all his fights have been like knockouts, first round type shit. And basically, he's planning to go in there and knock Dominic Cruz out. But Dominic Cruz style is feet, footwork. He's in and out, counter, boom, boom. Like, he's really dope with it. And if you see that fight, and if it goes past the first round, you're going to see a lot of beautiful techniques from Dominic Cruz. And I would say look out for that fight too, man. That's going to be a good one. But on that note, I want to say thank you to everybody out there listening. Keep spreading the word. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Faking No Moves, FAKINNOMOVES, and let them know where they can follow you.
Follow me at Working Genius, WORKINGENIUS. No, there's no two G's in the middle. It's just one G. Working Genius. You can catch me on Instagram. You can catch me on Snapchat. That's all I got.
All right, man. Peace. Be safe.